We're going to talk a little bit today about that engagement piece and what are the things. And like I said, I want us to, it's going to be interactive. So I'm going to talk about a few different things about marketing ourselves. What are we doing to be able to market ourselves? What are we doing to be able to build our agencies? And Addie brought up something. This was a good conversation about um, even if you're just producing right now, right? You're not actually actively building and bringing on new agents. It's still your business. So let's say, it doesn't mean that you're having to hire people and bring people on like we are with the recruiting, but it's still about building your book of business. So that's what we're really talking about today. And we all know, and we're going to get into that as well, but we all know that we have leads. There's a lot of people that come here specifically to Symmetry because of leads. And instead of you having to do the New York life. So that's I want to kind of pull it apart today. So let's talk about New York life as an example for a moment, or Prudential. If you go to either one of these companies, they are the first thing they're going to ask you is for a list of 100 of your closest friends, family, phone numbers, email addresses. And I don't think that's basically the equivalent of our flat tire list. And I don't think we talk about that piece enough, especially when someone is trying to start or just get started here. That is just so when you're getting started, everybody knows people. And it's about being able to help them, not just about talking about, life insurance. And a lot of carriers, what they're doing is they're focusing on final expense. Here, we talk about this all the time that we're a full service agency. So we should be able to help somebody, whether it be Mutual of Omaha with a dental, cancer policy, stroke policy, being able to help people with and talking more about living benefits. So it's about digging into all of the things that we have as a company, as an agency, and how can we be helping people, let me see, let me get down on my list here. And what are we doing to build off that? So let's say we are purchasing leads. How can we also be building off and have more clients? And so Ash, I talked to her before we got on, and inside our group me, everyone, she has taken the time to be able, if you look at the group me, and as you enter in, before you go into the chat piece, there's recordings found here where you can just click on the recordings, and she has quite a few in there right now. Let's see. Guys doing okay. All right, so if you click on it, and then I think where was the timeline around there? She has a lot of videos in there, guys. She's taken
June 2nd.
June 2nd. Okay. On June 2nd, she has it in there where Jesse is in there talking about referrals. And then also Jesse was on the Delaney agency talking about referrals. So whether referrals are a huge, huge piece of building a book of business. Before you could purchase leads, what would you do? You would have to ask for referrals, ask friends and family. If you already have another client, he's picking up 3 to 5 more clients every single time he sells to somebody on a lead that he purchased because he's asking them for referrals. And you've already built a relationship at that particular point. Why are we and so now you're building that book of business, you're using their name, and that's one of the things that Jesse gets into is really talking about how to be able to ask for referrals. That's one piece of being able to build your business. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go through different things that we can be doing to build our business. And as Jerry said the other day, like I don't know if some of you know that he owned a restaurant in New York. And Jerry, actually, I know you're going to hate me for picking on you on doing this right now, but I'm going to do it anyway. So would you share the story about the pizza story? This is good. This is thinking outside the box. What are the things we can be doing? Go ahead, Jerry, if you don't mind sharing the
Yeah, this
pizza.
wasn't something I did. It was a place that I worked before I had my restaurant. This
Yeah.
guy opened up a pizzeria, restaurant, bar that I ended up managing for him down the road. But as soon as he opened it up, the strip that he was on closed down for construction. So nobody here he is in no business and the road is closed. How are they going to get to him? And he came up with an idea that a lot of people are using now. It was a pizza seminar, he called it, and he ran class trips. Whatever would come, second grade, third grade, they would come. He'd play some kind of name game while they was sitting there. Give them each a piece of dough to make a pizza and to take home. With the box, now you have the pizza dough in the box with the name of the restaurant on it. And here is a class trip, which he did for free. But what that did was all those parents, where does the kid want to eat on Friday night? What is he going to say? He wants pizza from Jimmy Mac's. That's where he wants to go. And just that word of mouth, those pizza seminars, doing them 5 days a week, kept him in business till he was ready to take off.
Okay, don't mute yet. So tell them this is genius. I mean, really honestly. This is us thinking about ways to build our business, and that's what we're doing today. So Jerry, what was this one's my fave. So what you just told me earlier combined with the shirt. So tell us about the shirt.
Just a shirt or a hat with that scan code on it, that silly scan code that I can never get the picture of correctly. And if you scan that, that's your DFL. That's someone walking by. What is this scan about? And they scan your shirt or the hat, and it's DFL information. And I wanted to have the quote, um, the line under it instead of got milk, it was got that because they used to have that got milk ad. So got that, and here's the thing to scan, and you put that on like sun visors, like you go into the mall, if people still go to the mall, wherever you go, and you put that sun thing up to block so your car stays cool, that can be on front of that too.
And when he said it, I'm thinking about Brian and I going to a Cincinnati Reds game that seats 42,000 people. I mean, you're not going to have all of them there, but you got a shirt on that says pay off your mortgage in 9 years instead of 30. Scan here. Right? So now you're walking around, it's free except for the fact that you got to buy the shirt and be wearing it. Then he was talking about, God, I haven't thought about these for years, but the magnets that go on the side of your car. You guys, Addie, Leandra, you guys being in the real estate industry, right? Um, Cheap to get them printed. Yeah, exactly, Leandra. Great. So it's but the thing I'm just trying to emphasize is that, and we're going to continue to go through more of these things. It is our business to build. So yes, we're not saying take away the leads. We're saying combine with it. It's building. Chris, do you kind of want to add what you were talking about earlier? You were kind of really emphasizing um, on that particular piece with if you don't mind, Addie. I'll come right back over to you after Chris. I
Yeah,
see your hand up there.
yeah.
I didn't mean
Sorry,
to.
trying to find my mute button here.
That's no
I
problem.
so fun fact, the little games that you play, you go to a party and everybody's got to tell a fact about them. Nobody guess or doesn't know. I actually started in insurance a long time ago, right out of college. That was many moons ago. But I started with Prudential, and Prudential's old school. Prudential was make a list of your 100. Actually, I think we had to do 200 names at the time, and go out and call on those people. Now, a lot of times we kind of turn our nose up at that and say, well, we don't have that, we have leads. Well, yes, we do have leads. And I always tell people, when we're having these hiring conversations, that it's great that we have the leads here. Leads are there so you don't have to rely on your warm market for success, but it's not there so you can ignore your warm market. In fact, it's quite the opposite. I mean, I think the ideal scenario for a new agent starting in this business is the first, month, 2 months, whatever, 6 months, I don't know. 90% of what they're writing should be on warm market. Like if you're not reaching out to your warm market, you're missing the greatest launch to your business. And I think there's a lot of reasons why people don't. Most of it involves ego. Either I want to become successful, I'm too afraid to call my people because I want them to think I'm successful before I call them, or I'm too scared that maybe they'll say no, or whatever. Plug in your excuse of why you don't reach out to your warm market. Now, I encourage everybody that new flat tire approach that they've created. They've put up an opt in Fast Start, in HQ, excuse me, in Fast Start. Guys, that's the playbook right there. I mean, and the way we do that is very non-aggressive from a sales standpoint. In fact, it's very, I think it's a beautiful approach. But Sean, you and I were talking earlier. I said, think about this. What would it happen? How would you feel if somebody you were close to, a good friend, maybe even a family member, that you find out that they died in an accident and you hadn't called them, and now you're watching their family struggle, all because why? Again, is the excuse the reason that you're not reaching out to the person worth you carrying around the burden of knowing that you could have helped them and you didn't? Now, if you call them and they say no, I'm not interested, that's on them. But if you don't call and something happens to them, that's on you. And it doesn't even have to be, well, you say, well, okay, well, I haven't had anybody in my circle die for a long time. Okay, well, maybe it doesn't happen. What happens if they get sick? Like I tell people all the time, in fact, even clients are, they're kind of a little suspicious of the old insurance closing technique. Well, what if you don't come home from tomorrow? Well, yeah, I mean, the odds are probably pretty low that you don't come home tomorrow. I mean, the odds of you dying in an accident for me and you having an insurance conversation, yeah, statistically, that's really low. You know what the odds are really high of? And we see this every week in our business. I talk to agents. I've had it happen to me. The odds of you getting sick or having to go to the ER or just having some event that maybe is not life threatening, but now disqualifies you for insurance that you would have qualified before our conversation, now you no longer qualify for. How many times have we had somebody we talked to, gosh, if I just talked to you a week ago, we could have got you anything. But now because you had that ER visit, we can't, I mean, guaranteed issue or accidental death benefit. That's my options right now. So my challenge to everybody on here, like hopefully you came into this business with a vision of becoming a professional. This is something I used to talk about, and this is something I'm going to start talking about a lot more. Are you wanting to be a professional? Or are you wanting to be just another salesperson? Are you wanting to be just somebody who's trying to get rich quick in a business where you can make a lot of money pretty quick? Because if you're a professional, you're going to reach out to your circles of influence. Sean, I mean, you're talking about starting a restaurant. Like, how many of us start a restaurant and then don't tell any of our friends that we have this new restaurant? Like, whether or not they come in and eat with us, we want them to at least know that, hey, I opened my doors. I have a restaurant I'm really excited about. Would love for you just to come try out the food. And so why wouldn't we do the same thing with our insurance financial services business? And the reality, to your point, Sean, is not only can we help them with life insurance, but we can also help them with critical illness, cancer, heart attack, stroke policies. We can help them with a debt-free life. This is what I've said for the last couple of years now, that we've had this big push for debt-free life. Like, sit down and write a list of how many people you know are in debt. Like, that list is going to be pretty much anybody and everybody in your contact, your contact on your phone. And are you at least having some type of reach out to them? Hey, we've got a service. I don't know if you've heard about it. This debt-free life thing allows you to take a 30-year mortgage and pay it off in 9 years. Are you open to any more information about that? So I think I got myself off track there. But again, what I think the perfect agent, air quotes, perfect agent would be their first 2 weeks, 2 months, whatever. 90% of the business that they're doing is coming from warm market, and they're using leads to supplement, make sure they have a full calendar. Now, as they get further into the warm market and maybe they kind of touched everybody and, they get some referrals, which you have to be doing, to your point. But as they're reaching out and maybe that business starts to draw down a little bit, you're still servicing your warm market, you're still working your referrals, but now maybe I'm backfilling with leads. But now I've also got the money to invest in whatever lead I want. And I can buy A leads all day, every day, and I'm not having to buy the 50-cent leads. Not that there's anything wrong with it. You're starting brand new and you need to buy 50-cent leads. That's fine. Do 50-cent leads. But my point is, if you get the bigger vision and if you have enough courage to reach out and talk to your warm market, you may never have to touch a 50-cent lead because you've helped enough warm market. You've been a service Last thing I'll say, Coach Finn, some of you have taken his training. I love how he frames this. He's like, fear and service cannot coexist. So a lot of times he's talking about somebody maybe is afraid to pick up the phone and dial. I'd say it's the same thing that somebody's afraid to call their warm market. Fear and service cannot coexist. So are you coming to this conversation? Are you coming to this activity with fear, or are you coming to it with the idea of mindset of service? I want to be able to let my people know what I do and how I can help them. Again, whether that they take advantage is that's on them. And if they don't, hopefully everybody here is mature enough and grown up enough to say, hey, that's their choice. That's okay. But I did my part. And now, if I get that call from them, and who was it I was talking to her recently? Had a wife of somebody that they had talked to 2 or 3 years ago, reached out to them, maybe it was Stella, and said, "Hey, did we put anything in place because my husband's now gone?" And the good news is this agent, again, I'm not going to quote it was Stella or somebody else, but this person said, we had that conversation, but he said he didn't want it at that time. I'm sorry, I can't help you. So but that's a different position to be coming from, where you can say to that client, and it's still not a good feeling. Don't get me wrong, like that really sucks to be able to have to say that to somebody. But we could say it with a clear conscience. It's like, we tried. I really did. I tried, but they said no. But what you're going to find more often than not, especially with your warm market, and this is a piece, this last where I'll leave it, Sean. I know I've been rambling on here,
Oh,
but
no.
the piece that I think too many people miss is like your warm market is walking through the apple orchard and picking off everything that you can just easily reach. You don't have to get on the ladder. You don't have to climb up to the top. You don't have to shake the tree. Like, you're just going through and picking that off, and that's easy. And then the work comes when we kind of have to start getting up in the trees and start hunting a little bit and start making connections with our leads higher up, bigger conversations. But by that point, we've got a foundation laid where that's a much easier transition.
I love it. Thank you, Chris. I mean, um, I'm also, going along with what, we're talking about. Actually, Wendy, I'm going to ask if you're okay with following up on something. I don't know if you want to, but I think it's important. With this, we talk about writing applications on ourselves and protecting our own families, as well as, the referrals, as well as the warm market. Do you want to share on, I know you've shown it before, about with writing that cancer policy and talking about those kinds of things? Do you want to do that?
Yeah, it's fine. So if you don't know, my husband has cancer, and I was going to write a cancer policy on him because he has a history of cancer. And my entire life, as we've been together forever, but I'm like, man, one day he's going to get cancer. I'm going to have to write that policy once I got into the business. And I think it was October, golly, when was he diagnosed? It's October of 2023. I pulled it up. I was going to write it. And he and I was like, golly, how much coverage would he need? And I got caught in the weeds of how much coverage would he need if we got diagnosed with cancer. And we never finished the conversation. And we went to our wellness exam the end of October. And he had blood work and his PSA was high. And I was like, well, holy crap, can't write it now. We got to wait and see what happens. And then that following February, he was diagnosed with cancer. So, and also, like, none of our policies had living benefits built into them. None of them. We had policies we got when we first got married. Allstate came out and did their thing and told us what we needed and all of this stuff, which is not what we needed. We needed 10 times that amount of coverage. Um, we both have policies at SBLI, but that's before SBLI had living benefits. He has policies at work, but they don't have living benefits. So yeah, it's just a story. You don't think you're gonna, like I tell people when we talk on the phone, like you don't get a calendar invite for the day you're gonna be diagnosed with cancer or the day you're gonna die. It's going to happen eventually. But the thing is, I knew it was gonna happen. I've known it for 20, Collie, we've almost been married 20 years, almost 20 years. I knew one day you would get cancer. I just knew it. Um, and didn't write the policy because I got caught up on the amount. And that happens a lot with people that you work with. Well, how much do I need? Or how much do I want to pay? At the end of the day, that's important, but what's important is that you have coverage. Once you get the coverage in place, you always can adjust on the back end. Um, so, it's the one thing I tell people not to get caught up in it. And I did the same thing because we're all human. So if people have a history of cancer in their and then his brother, so I'm not one to talk about warm market. I'm not the one that should be having that conversation. However, after he was diagnosed, even his brother was like, well, I don't need one of those. I'm like, okay, dummy, is what I wanted to say. You're not going to get cancer. Both of your grandpas died of cancer. You don't need cancer. And your brother has cancer. No, you don't need a cancer policy. But it is that's the way it is with people. So sometimes you have to live and learn. So
Well, and that's thank you, Wendy, for sharing that. And that starts. We did that in one of our meetings, but we don't talk about it enough, right? We get new people on. We can protect ourselves, right? And then they're going to pay you even if you're 80%, they're going to pay you each month. They'll pay, and then they pay you back for that first year. You're getting these policies in place, and at the same time, we don't talk about protecting our friends and family, and then also talking about us. And I know with Wendy, with that story, it's like,
but he does have a heart attack and stroke because his mom had a stroke and his dad had a heart attack in one last week. So he does have that. So that happens. We'll get some money. So there we go.
Thank you for sharing. That's good. So let's continue on. And like one of the things I wanted to come to Wendy on that, I want to go back to what Chris was talking about now too, about when Brian and I went to Knoxville in 21, it was Jamie Susie and Sarah Reineke. I think they'd only been here a year or two at the time. And they were all dressed up in black and came out, secret agent man. A lot of people, they don't want to tell people that they're a life insurance agent. We are not just a life insurance agent. We are educating. If you think about it in that perspective, we are educating and changing people's lives. The story Wendy was just talking about, Chris is talking about, if we can help people change their lives and get them out from underneath debt to be able to have the living benefits when something happens in their life, to be able to protect them. So we are educating people. And think about it from that perspective about when I'm doing the debt-free life now, I like to have one meeting with people first and then go on to the second meeting. Why is that? I want to get to know them. I want them to understand that I want to know what's going on in your world to be able to help you and get to know each other a little bit instead of me just giving you a quote. It's not just about us writing, an application to make money. The money will come as long as we're helping and educating and helping people through that process. So I want to go on with a few other ideas that we've come up with, and then I want you guys to be thinking about it because I want some ideas from you guys about what you think you can be doing in your area. We talked about the shirt with Jerry. We've talked about the magnets, whether it be for the car or if you want to be able to do that. We're building a business here, guys. Think about if you were sitting on Main Street, are you going to go out with flyers as people are walking by? You got to figure out a way to be able to build your business. So this is everything together, including the leads, right? Chris and I were talking about something. Brian and I, the idea in my mind, unfortunately, we were at a funeral. And then we had some of them that were talking to us and talking about Brian and I used to have, some pretty good sized parties here at the house. And then we were talking about Brian. Some of you will know what Longenberger baskets are. Some of you will know what Pampered Chef is. But the whole concept was Brian, when we met, he was doing Longenberger. We would have parties at the house where people would come to the house And what would we do? We would look at these catalogs, look at these baskets. These are the baskets that are available. And then from the baskets, now listen, you can also be selling. Not only can you purchase them, you could become a representative, and we can have a home party at your home to be able to help you sell your baskets or your Pampered Chef. What if we, and there's nobody else doing this, what if we were actually getting people out of debt parties? Doesn't have to be a large group of people, but make it fun. Have some cocktails, have some food, have them over. You're just having normal conversation. And I'm also going to tell you how to get out of debt. So Brian and I are going to try to be able to have a party. But while you're here, in this part, we have to give credit to Chris. I was talking about being able to, now you can do this too. Not only can we get you out of debt, we can help you also start to also make money off helping people get out of debt as well. And this is the part with Chris where he was saying, well, they go get a life and health license. You don't even need to write it. You don't even need to be a life license. You refer the people to us. And as an example, we'll get 20% of it being dropped into your account. You can keep your regular job, keep doing your life, whatever it is that you're doing. And then we can help you write these applications. We'll write them for you, and then we put it on there, and then you're going to get deposits as well. So again, it's something else. And then think about it. Like if we do one here, people come, well, listen, we'll come to your house and do the Debt-Free Life Party. Do it. Let's start a wave, guys. Let's start a wave of getting people out of debt. Let us get your shirt on, invite people to your house. If we're not close, we'll do a Zoom. Get us on the screen. We'll do the presentation for whoever it is that's there to be able to do it while you guys are just there having a good time. We will help you. And then we're going to start as well doing like what Derek Fitzgerald does. We're going to start once a week having an overview of Debt-Free Life. Wednesday evening this week, I think he still has it going on. It's in your HQ from 8 to 9 in the evening. He does a complete overview. You can invite people, get on the call. I'm going to be on there on Wednesday. Get on the call and listening to him do an overview about infinite banking and debt-free life. You don't just have to do debt-free life, guys. We can be doing in infinite banking where we can help them, show them where they can be building basically their own savings account. And we'll talk a little bit more. That's another call, but we'll talk a little bit more about that. Are we using our social media? Are we getting in and saying what we just said? Pay off your mortgage in 9 years instead of 30. Period. Let them start asking you questions. Do you want to make another $5,000 a month part-time? Put that on your social media. Again, we're not doing it enough. All of these things are things to be building our business and building our agency and thinking outside the box. Again, not taking away from what we're doing. I'm going down through my list because we're at 5:30 and I want people to be able to. I spoke with Maria Pontel. She could not be on today. I think Myra also speaks Spanish. So what we were talking about is being able to have her on or have them on to be able to help other families in letting them know that, let's say we're doing an event or we're doing a debt-free life, she will translate. If we want to start being able to have more people come and letting them know, we were talking about the fear that they have because people don't understand them. Well, what if we have somebody that's there that can understand them so we can start inviting other people as well and having Maria where she can translate for them on the calls. Again, we're thinking about things that we talked about Jerry's shirt. Lauren. Now, she's not on here. She's supposed to be getting back on, but the thing is, she went to church. She spoke to the pastor and talked to the pastor about preaching on getting out of debt. And then what did she do that evening on a Wednesday night? She went into explaining about IULs, things like that. At that time, she didn't understand the debt-free life piece. But again, it's thinking outside that box and picking up clients. One of the things, and we haven't done enough of it yet, but when I went in December for the debt-free life and the annuity training and all of the training, one of the things that they talked about, I can't remember his name, Chris. He's supposed to be at this next training. You and I are going in August too. But one of the things that he doesn't have to buy leads. He doesn't have to do any of these things we're talking about anymore, because everybody is constantly saying, I got Mr. Jones, I have this one, I have that one, that wants to get out of debt, and they're calling him nonstop. Because you start getting people and you're helping them and showing them how to get out of debt in 9 years or less, they're going to be talking about you at cocktail parties. They're going to be talking about you and saying, you need to speak to Addie. You need to speak to Wendy. You need to speak to Chris, whoever it is that's writing it. You need to be speaking to them, because they can get, you cannot believe what they did for me. But we need to be doing it. This is, again, building up at this particular point. So go to church. We talked about the referrals. Trying to just go through my notes here. Okay, just making sure that I'm covering everything. The point is, I've thrown out a lot of different things at us, guys. But we need to go to work. We need to start working on building our business. Yes, we need to dial. We need to be doing that. But we need to be doing these other things as well. I mean, the old school way. Guys, I'll just tell you a quick story, and then I want to kind of open it up. Chris, I want you to kind of add, and then I want you guys to start giving me some ideas of things you can be doing in your community. I owned my first business when I was 16 years old. Then I have been using this and thinking about these things. I opened a little business called Chore Busters. Who you gonna call? Chore Busters. Little ad in the classifieds. People, the low ladies were calling me, going, Sean, can you come put my plastic on for the winter and all this stuff? The point is there's so many different ways that we can put ourselves out there and let them know. And no more secret agent, man. Start telling the people what you're doing to be able to help them. And at the same time that you're helping people and building the business, now the money is going to start flowing into our accounts, right? It's going to start building our business. Chris, do you want to follow up on any of that at this point? And then we'll start opening up. And people, come on, I want people to tell me what they're going to do. What are your ideas?
My only piece of advice is just look for natural opportunities. I think sometimes we get too caught up in, well, I don't want to go door to door. I'm not asking you to go door to door, or I don't want to jump on the phone and call my friends. Well, okay, but do you ever see friends? Like, do you run into them, like you said, at church? Do you run into them at ball games? Do you run into them? Like, look for natural opportunities, and you don't have to make it weird either. Somebody asks what you do. I mean, have your pre-printed or pre-recorded message in your head. Mine is, I help people fill gaps in their insurance and financial lives. Gaps. What do you mean gaps? Well, see, I got a question. So now I can just pivot into, well, what I find is most people have insurance. Most people have retirement. Most people don't have enough, and they realize that, but they're looking for ways to fill their gaps. Would you be interested or open to a conversation, or maybe depending on the relationship, I mean, that pivots into a conversation that we can have about what we do. Maybe I kind of tease them with a little bit. Yeah, everything from mortgage protection to life insurance to 401k rollers, IRA rollovers, setting up retirement, $1 million baby. Quick story. You were talking about, looking for natural opportunities. One of Sarah Reinecke's SMEs, their debt-free life SME is a former pastor. So, he very much enjoys connecting with people. But when anybody in the community, specifically from his church, has a baby, he goes over, visits, takes gifts, takes cookies, enjoys the time with them. As he's walking out, he says, "You know what? That looks like $1 million baby to me." And they kind of laugh and like, "What do you mean? $1 million baby?" "Yeah, I think he's $1 million baby." What do you mean, billion? Well, we actually offer a product that if you take it out on your child right now, by the time he retires, he'll have well over $1 million And that's just putting a little bit of money aside each month. Well, what brand new parent doesn't want to do the most for their kid, especially if they know it's easy and I'm just putting aside a few dollars every month. So, and that's just one example, guys. I mean, for some of you, like, Addie or somebody, you mentioned somebody else on here has a real estate background. Think about connecting with your real estate people in your community. What if you could talk to a real estate agent that and say, hey, what if every time you closed a house, you got paid an extra $800 to $1,000 in commissions? What do you mean? Just get a license and offer all your clients mortgage protection life insurance. Hey, I helped you set up this deal. We got your house closed. Let's get it protected. The ones that see the big picture, are going to, hey, how would you like to get a piece of every deal that goes down in the city? Connect with a broker, get them set up, get your license, connect with a broker, get them onboarded, let them run all their deals through and show them how they can get overrides for having their agents write mortgage protection life insurance on all their clients.
I love it. I mean, and it's true. I mean, like you said, or like mortgage, somebody that's doing mortgage or real estate, or, you might even find a couple of guys here in Batesville. Again, I'm trying to think outside the box as well, more so now, where they're focused on health. Combine with them. I'll send all my health stuff to you. You guys send all your life insurance to me. It's out there. Brian and I used to, when we had another business, we had a big billboard, $400 a month or whatever, with people driving by, like with Jerry's thing, talking about getting out of debt and the website. The thing is too, that, some of us have, some of you guys don't, but Brian builds these for $100. It's if you want it, and it's a one-time fee, you've got a whole, like we have CochraneVote.com. Go look at it. It talks about debt-free life. There's a lot of people when we're doing recruiting, they look up our name, they find it, CochraneVote.com, they get on there. You got a website to be able to go to for $100, right? He builds it. He just takes it. He helps you with the logo and does everything. You got to have a GoDaddy and a Canva account, that are, I think it's $15 a month is what it is, Brian, something like that, for the Canva. But now you've got a website, like when Jerry's talking about scanning, you're able to start driving people to your website. You've got all your information on there. It's specially built for you. But where else are you going to go and be able to have your whole business with the overhead that we have? We have no overhead. We don't have inventory. I know you've heard me say it before. You don't have extra utilities. You're doing it from home. You're not having to pay for employees and all this stuff. This is all set. You just need to go out and market yourself. It's all about marketing. How do we market ourselves? We've been talking about those things. So now that who's going to open up and talk about something they're ready to do? Is there something special that they've got in mind that they want to do? Leandra, I see you ready to rock and roll.
Well, one of the things I do, I already do for my real estate clients, I do also let them know and offer that also to my real estate buddies that I have out here. But one thing that I am getting ready to restart is I'm a Spark driver. I deliver groceries. And at one point in time, I would have a thank you message on one side with my real estate information on the other side. And I have a QR code for a cookie recipe or a lemonade recipe on it. So now I'm really going to revamp it because quiet as it kept. I think I'm going to inactivate my license in January because I want to concentrate on my with the brain that I have. I don't get me wrong. Once I get this up and running, I am definitely going to get back over there so I can double tap and get the money. But I want to, with the brain that I have, I want to be able, I'm not a multitasker when it comes to those type of different situations. I don't like hat switching when it is becoming a problem. So I had to make a decision on which one I wanted to do more. So I decided that in January I am going to inactivate my license. But while I'm getting ready to do that, I'm going to start reprinting the cars to go in these orders. Because with Spark already, I've done 1,700 orders, but I've seen more customers than that. You know what I'm saying? So one order, one trip, or one of those trips, maybe I go to 10 customers' houses that day. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot different. And just simply putting them in there. We had a fish fry this weekend for our church. I was handing out cards all day. We had a fundraiser. I was literally handing out cards all day. I'm fixing plates and talking about insurance.
I love it. No, that's great. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. This is what we're talking about. It's ours, right? And it's building and it's building that base, and then it'll start to come more and more as we continue to do that. And then Ash is down over here. Yeah, I mean, you can put up stuff, little at the laundromat or at the library, like she's putting in there and letting people know. Now, the library, I'm going to add this, and then I'll go to Addie and then Marisa, is that you can go and do your reviews at the library. The library is free. And you can go in and do an overview on debt-free life, or do an overview on how to be able to, new agents that might be interested. You can just go there and reserve it for a couple of, weeks. You can do those things as well. Addie, you had your hand up and you took it down. Are you? Yeah, me too.
My computer has a mind of its own. If I'm scrolling around, it will put my hand up, and I'm not trying to put my hand up. But since you called on me, though, one of the things as a real estate broker, real estate agent, realtor, we have access to, it's called farming, like a neighborhood. You have access to the addresses of people in a neighborhood. So I'm thinking of creating a flyer or card to send out to farm my neighborhood. I'm gonna start with my neighborhood where I live, letting them know I'm a insurance advisor and talking about debt-free life with that QR code on it. So that's one of my ideas.
I love it, Addie. It's perfect. I mean, that again, it's something. There's just so many. I'm loving this. Miss Marisa.
Hey, I don't know if it's just unique to this town, but I live in a little quaint, artistic, artsy fartsy little community here, and they have festivals like 2 and 3 a month, and they have little spots. Some of them are free, some cost $25. The bigger festivals, you might have to pay for a spot like 6 months in advance, but we have a main street that people will park a mile away and walk to the festival going on. So I thought, even if I'm just handing out cards and flyers and not having a booth, that's an avenue as well.
I love it. I love that. That's perfect. We haven't even talked about that. Yeah, that's great, Marisa. So you've got events, little like she's talking about music events, or there's different events that are going on where you can set up for $25 or $40 and be able to start telling people about who you are, and being able, if we focus on this debt-free life part of it and letting people know about that, even as simple as saying pay off your mortgage in 9 years instead of 30, who wouldn't want to know about that? I want to know about it. Can someone tell me? I mean, it's so being able to go do that little event, and then you can just make a little sign. They're not that expensive to be able to have a little sign that you can put in front of your your table. They usually provide the tables for you. You just got to have something to be able to let people know to come over, and then have the cards or even a QR code on the stand to be able to have them scan as they walk by. They don't even have to pick up the card. I like it.
And banners, maybe like $50 for a table size banner or one of those tent banners. The last job I worked at was an ice cream shop, and we did what y'all were talking about at first with the pizza shop. She's an ice cream shop, and during the winter and during school, that's when it tends to slow down some. She would have school parties, and she would show them how they make the ice cream, and do a couple classes at a time, and they would come by and get to taste something that we were making fresh and place a little order. And that was a math and science class field trip that the schools would do. And because they would have to count out their money to do the order and learn how to do tax and all that stuff, and the science behind making something with the machine and all. And it makes a difference because they would come back after school. I want to go back to Quakes. I want to go back to Quakes.
I love it.
We made a lot of money doing that.
I love it, Marisa. That's great. Great. That's good stuff.
And I did the booths with that same ice cream shop down on the beach. They'd have every one day a month, they would have music down at a little amphitheater on the beach. And we'd have a little truck there with the ice cream in the freezers selling them.
Love it. Great stuff. I hate to admit, Brian, when we had our store, I would dress up as a leprechaun and run up and down the streets. I still have the outfit. I'll have to get the hat and the little shoes and pointing people in. I mean, I was doing what I needed to do to be able to get people to walk into the store, right? I mean, come in and see this crazy man.
I think, unfortunately, it chased more people away than it did attract them.
Shut up, Brian. But the whole point is come up. Shut up, Ash. Come up with ideas and things to be able to promote yourself, to be able to build your business. We don't get that in our minds enough. We've talked about things all the way from writing applications on yourself to getting referrals to getting out and letting what we have. I don't think we realize what we have and how amazing it is that we can change people's lives. And it's getting out there and letting people know that we can help them do that. We have the power to be able to do that. I don't know what those two are laughing about, but I'm sure it's making fun of me.
Just wait till you read the comments later.
Good grief. But so let's get out. Let's start next Monday. I don't have our topic yet, but next Monday, I want what we did this week. Every single person, I want one thing that you did this week to be able to move your business forward. So the whole month of July, every single Monday, I want us the next week, everybody to say, what did you do the last week that was new to be able to get your name, to be able to get your business out there, to be able to start moving that along. So whether it be, I'm going to have the party, get with me. We'll figure out how to be able, I'll help you. We'll figure out how to do it. I did a website with Brian. I went to the laundromat. I went to the library and I got a flyer put on. Brian will help you with the Canva. If you've got an idea, if you don't know how to do it, Ash, Brian, we'll help you to be able to get that together with your information on it so that you can just print it out and go with it. What is it that you're doing to build your business? Because think, guys, if we all do this one thing each week, what is the end of the year going to look like for us? What is the end of the year going to look like for your business and what you're doing right now? And what are people going to start saying? What are you doing? Miss Addie Pinkston, what are you doing? Miss Linda Scott, what are you doing now? And even like I said, even if you're not recruiting, you're still building your business so that you can start making money. Is it Jerry came up with something? He's been full of ideas this week. I'm like, what is going on? He's talking about going to the schools and start being able to like give them something to be able to teach kids now in high school about, finances for the future, and then them something that they can even give back to their parents. These are all amazing ideas. So the thing is we just need to keep coming up with those ideas and adding to that as well. Chris, do you have anything else you want to add? I know we're a little bit early, but I thought we'd wrap up, and then any questions that anybody might have before we wrap up today.
Good stuff. Don't be a secret agent.
Don't be a secret agent. Okay. So do we want me to be a secret agent man or a leprechaun next in the comments? Leprechaun or secret agent man next Monday? I'll be either or. Whatever I have more of in the chat is what I'll be next week. Any questions? Does anybody have any questions before we wrap up today?
Hey, Marisa, what is your domain name?
amzfinancialgroup.com. Very, very basic, but hey, I got a awesome deal hosting, so took advantage of it. Put it
It doesn't
together.
have to be all fancy to make money on it.
No. I do need to add more info though and details and stuff, which I'm absolutely awful at. Give me something to edit and I'm all over it. Give me something to create. It will take me years.
Go to our website and you can get some information off of there.
Yeah. So I got kind of like the highlights and I did it. And I talked with someone who would let me pick his brain about promoting the traffic to it. And he said basically more content would be the biggest thing. So just more things for it to click on. So getting there little by little, but I got it.
To
My
follow up,
logo's final, everything.
keep doing that. We've got, Brian and I have had people that have scheduled on the calendar that weren't even in our marketing or recruiting platform. And we're like, where'd you come from? They found us from our website looking for life insurance.
Good.
That's why I wanted to get it up. As soon as I got my logo finished and decided color scheme and all, I put it all together and worked on it for about a week.
Awesome.
great.
Got it up this weekend.
Great
So
job.
there's my thing for the week.
That was
Great
for
job.
last week. You need something new for this
Yeah.
week.
No,
yeah.
hey, our week start on Saturday. I'm good.
Oh, what a stinker bot.
Hey, Sean, it looks
okay.
like you're going to be a leprechaun next week.
Leprechaun. Okay. All right. I'm leprechaun next week. I will come in full costume. All right. I'm just looking at, okay. Got great idea there, Brandon. All right, guys. Great call. Thank you for everybody being here. Let's go out and let's keep building our business together, right? So everybody have a great evening, and we will talk to you in accountability in the morning.
Have a good night.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.